Okay. Hi, welcome back. It's Teresa again, here for the Art Literacy November-December unit at Lake Grove Elementary. We're going to do Diego Rivera, and I'm going to give you a tour of the art cart, just because it's good to get oriented. A little different this time. It's we don't have the drying rack, because you're going to end up with these cute people shapes. So they fit in here. It'll be easiest. We'll go over it. Reminder at the top is that we'll have to figure out how to put their name there, so we don't cut that off. But on the art cart, from the top down is where the finished artwork will be. There'll be an example up here as well. We'll probably leave it up here. If you get this with a bunch of other art stuff in it, that's fine. You can leave it. Should take a lot of them. On the next shelf down are all the markers. We're going to use 2 sets of markers. This bigger bin will be all different colors, and the next bin will be our Colors of the World markers, because we need people tones, skin tones. A few pencils, but they can mostly use pencils from their desks. Optional also, just a few scissors. They probably have them at their desks, but if not, we did have a couple classrooms last time that didn't have them, so we're leaving a few here. And then this is the most bespoke part of this, is we have templates. So not using regular old paper, we're going to use cardstock that has a pre-printed template on it. And you'll find those down here at legal size. And then wipes for just wiping up, because they are markers. And they are a little bit messy. So that's the art cart. Pretty simple this time. We'll have 2 art carts ready for you. Grab one. If you get there and for some reason there's not an art cart available, it's probably because someone else has the art cart right before you. So you can check our calendar and just see which room it's in, or ask a staff member, because all of the art literacy units should be actually on the school internal calendar now. So there's more awareness around where the cart should be. Thanks. Hello, welcome to the lesson on Diego Rivera. I'm going to just go through this lesson. We don't need to linger on it too much because there's a video, but I'm going to give you a little bit of tips about what to say for each slide and how to handle that in the classroom. So Diego Rivera was a Mexican muralist and painter, 1886 to 1957, so not long gone. He was a famous artist he was known for painting large murals that show important events in everyday life. Loved to tell stories about history, people, culture, and his work has inspired artists all over. You might also know him as the husband of Frida Kahlo. And as a fun fact, when Diego was a child, he was so interested in drawing, he once got in trouble for using the walls of his home as a canvas. And they eventually put up chalkboards everywhere to accommodate that interest. So it's kind of fun. So here he is with Frida Kahlo, who is another artist we'll get to eventually with our new, more inclusive, more diverse artist set. So you don't have to show this slide, really. This is what we're going to do, the objectives. But really, we want to get right into the story. So what we're going to talk about today is storytelling through art, which was something that Diego Rivera was really good at. So we're going to talk about how art often tells stories, and sometimes looking carefully at a work of art, we can find elements that make up a story. So you can kind of ask the kids, like, what do you see on the left, and what's different from that on the right? Well, on the left, there's a lot more of a kind of a moment in time, a candid snapshot of a moment in time with a story behind it, you could probably tell. Whereas Round Pumpkin, if you ask the kids, maybe you ask them, like, hey, tell me a story about this, or tell me a story about this. There's not as much to say about this, what's happening with the pumpkin by itself. There's much more of a story to say with the one on the left. And the next slide is our artist video. I'm not going to play it here. It is only...
It was important to make paintings for everyday learning.
It's only a few minutes long, so you can just listen to it. It's very much about artists telling a story. If you want to preview it before you get into the classroom, you can go to the slideshow. We'll email that out. Okay, this is where we're going to spend most of our time in terms of slides. This is, there's actually 3 pictures on this slide. So if you're presenting, you tap it and you'll get a progression to show, but they wanted to show the scale. This is what we want to show, is that a mural is really big. So it takes up the whole space. Look at the people in front of it. Here's more of a detail view, so it shows more of the actual painting. This is where you can start to ask about what you see going on. What do you notice about the people and the activities happening in this painting? And, lots of things to talk through. We just had Dia de los Muertos. You can see some kind of characters dressed in that fashion. There's also people with hats, there's wings, there's conquistadors, there's all kinds of different revolutionaries and whatnot, all in the here. They don't have to, kids don't have to know who these characters are or who these actors are in Mexican culture, but they can just talk about the colors and the expressions and how the people are all kind of put together and what's the vibe, like what's the feeling of this painting and what's happening. And it's very communal. It's showing an entire community. You can even ask, what do you think it would be like to walk through the park at this time? This is a picture of Mexico City's largest park. And it was meant to show characters from hundreds of years, 400 years of Mexican history. So all together in one space. Here's the last picture. You could also, this is probably the third version of the view of the slide. It just has a lot more detail. So you can kind of talk about each of those different items. It does also tell the story from left to right, I think, from the oldest time to the most modern time. Okay, one more big mural. This is also for all grades. Go ahead and spend some time here. Pan-American Unity is a giant mural showing how the cultures of North and South America are connected. So kids who are aware of geography, we're in North America, South America has a lot of Latin American countries, and this is how the two are connected. And it has pictures of famous people, inventors, artists on both continents working together towards a better future. It's kind of telling a story. You can just, again, ask, like, what do you think is happening here? It's telling a story that's aspirational about how we can unite to create amazing things. And here is the history of Mexico. If you get to this point and you're at 10 minutes presenting between yourself talking and the video, you can skip ahead. You can just go right to the project if you want. There's only a couple more slides of art left. And they're all in this vein of big murals. So in this one, this is the history of Mexico, 1929 to 1930. It's a monumental mural that chronicles the rich and complex history of Mexico. You can ask, what are some things you notice first? Why do those parts of the mural stand out? Can you find any symbols or objects that tell us more about Mexico's history? Something else you can talk about if you want to tie it to the project, any of these slides, tie to the project is, what do you notice about the people? What are the details in the people? Because we're going to make self-portraits, and you want them to be representative of people. You notice they're not just wearing clothes. They're also having accessories and interests. They have this, they're doing activities that are part of their everyday life. So we want to encourage the kids to think that way. This one is for third to fifth grade only. You, again, don't have to worry about it if you are at time. This is called Allegory of California, and it shows a strong woman holding the earth. She's intended to represent Calafia, who's the warrior queen after whom California is named. And it has pictures of people working in fields, factories, mountains, different jobs that happen in California. So it tells a story about that state's rich history. And again, you can see the people, like this one's holding a plane. There's someone working back there with tools, wearing hats, doing things. That's important for what we want to do with our art project. This one is for all grades. It brings it back, if you do have time to get to it, to again talking about individual people and how Diego Rivera is telling story in art. So this one's called The Flower Carrier. It's about, and you can ask, what do you think he's trying to tell you in this painting? Why do you think Diego Rivera chose to show this moment in this man's life? And what do you think might have happened before or after this? Just get the kids thinking about storytelling and how to convey a message with what they're working on. Okay, that's really it. So we will reconfigure to do the hands-on portrait. I'll demo that, and then you'll be on your way. All right, we're going to do a project this time, which is self-portrait and class mural. The output for each individual kid is going to be a self-portrait that's like kind of cut out like this. The result that you want at the end is to take the class and put them all together in a display. So they can we have to figure out as an art literacy group, like if we're going to do that in individual classrooms, you're more likely in the hallway somewhere to just display them, because that's the point, just to have a big mural. So that's what we're going to do. There is, like last time, a video. So my suggestion again is what you're going to need. I'll go through the things we need, and then we'll talk about how to do the project. So what we're going to need is each kid needs this template that's pre-printed. We're going to cut it out. So it's important. You can tell them put the name on the back, but it's going to be a little tricky potentially because you can't really tell. So we might, unlike usual, if they can put their name and their room number, that's great. But if you put it up in the corner like Nick just did, it's going to get cut off.
Oh, no.
So you might want to have them do it at the end, is my tip. Yeah.
So it's got to be in the body.
Yeah, it's got to be in the body. So just something to think about. The supplies you need, though, are this specific piece of paper, which will be on the cart, all different color markers, the Colors of the World markers. If you can sort them back in there, they're pretty easily marked. You should. It'll be easier to deal with, but that's okay if not. We have a limited number of those. We have a lot of markers. If you find markers that are dead, throw them out. We don't want them. Or if this gets like down in supply, we'll just replenish it. And then scissors and a pencil. And that's kind of all you need to start. So just like last time, there's a project video. You can hear it playing in the background. We're not going to play it all the way through here because you can watch it. But my recommendation is to have the kids watch the entire video. Don't have them follow along. It sounds like that worked out pretty well last time. Don't have them follow along, just have them watch the whole video. While they're watching the video is a good time to hand out supplies and all of that stuff. It's a pretty short video. It's very straightforward. So the first step is you draw a self-portrait that tells a story about you. So think back to the Diego Rivera and all those pictures we saw and were inspired by, and draw yourself, but then don't just draw yourself. Think about things that are your interests. So, you know, if you care about soccer, or if you care about your brother or sister, or whatever it is, it can go outside the bounds of the body. The body's just there as a baseline template. So we're going to be making an art literacy coordinator mural. So I'm going to make Tessa, since she's not here. I say start with the hair. So you can kind of see as you draw, you can go outside if you want to draw a dress. That works. You don't have to keep the lines in mind. And then when you get done with the drawing, you can start coloring. There's like a lot to cover with the markers, so you can have them kind of do it from the side. It might help, I don't know. Since you're going to cut off the paper, not that the kids will care that much, but you can test it like that. Is that too dark? You will want things to mostly be attached to your body, if you can. But you can also cut it off and just attach it. Also, it is a little frustrating. Like, I totally messed up my mouth on this one. Because Zelda was like, "What is that? You look like an evil villain." I was like, "Yes, I do. But look, it matches my outfit."
It does.
Okay, we're getting close, I promise. I'm going to add a bunch of details that are unnecessary. But that's if the kids have extra time, you can just have them, you know, keep adding stuff. Encourage them to add more and more detail because it tells more and more of a story. Like you can have them think about what would happen. What's that person doing? Where are you going? Where are they going to do next? Okay, so then the next step, I'm going to draw on this tie. The next step is you cut it out. So the advice on cutting it out is just first do like a kind of a sweep around, leaving like an outline around it. Don't try to get too detailed right away, because that's just frustrating. Cool. Okay, so that's the first pass. And then the next one, you go through and you try to get as close as you can to the outline. This is where it's important. If you have stuff that you want to include, you try to like include that. But what we're not going to bother doing is cutting out if there's like little spaces like this or like that. Don't worry about that, because when they're all together in a mural, it won't matter. So you just kind of get as close as you can. Okay, so like I chose to cut that out. I don't know if I had to. I'm not going to do that side over there. So now we have a couple of ArtLit volunteers, one with markers in their hand and one with the art cart. This is when it's a good idea to turn it over and put your name. So see, I happened to target it right, but I might not have. So put your name and the room number. This is an example. Name, room number, or teacher. And it is important this time that we do get their names, because we're going to put them as a class in a mural. So I think what we'll end up doing is in February, probably when everyone's got it done, we'll make the whole hallway where the art bulletin boards are on the way to the gym a giant school-wide mural. But we'll just like put all of the students, put them by class. Yeah, so here's some examples. This guy's carrying, he's hiking. This is supposed to be my husband with Selden on his back because he likes to hike. So just encourage the kids. The big takeaway is to encourage the kids to be creative with their own art, self-portrait, and put a lot of detail in that kind of tells us who they are without even being there. So it'd be great to be able to walk down the hallway and your family or your friends would say, hey, I know who that is, because they like soccer or they have that kind of hairstyle, you know, painting or whatever, reading. So include things like that, books and activities. I like it. We can tape that on. That's pretty easy to do. Tape. So if kids get frustrated, it's actually a really good point. If kids get frustrated, they cut arms off or whatever, paper arms, hopefully. If they do make a mistake, it's easy to just put it back together. Because once you put all these together in a little group, it's really, you don't even notice things like these empty spaces. And you can we'll even arrange them maybe so that they're not obvious. But
there you go, cool baseball guy.
Yeah, come on, join the fam. There we go. That's art. So at the end, cleaning up, again, just try to sort like these ones that say Colors of the World, go back in that bin, not that big of a deal, and then these ones go here. If there's any that are dead, toss them. Any that don't have caps, whatever, you can toss them. I'm trying to put all the markers on the top shelf of the bin, and then you can put all of these guys in here. Just be careful when you're handling them because they are a little fragile, right? Like their arms get ripped off and stuff. So try to be gentle. That's it. We're done. And then ArtLit coordinators will make the mural assemblage. And if you want to volunteer to help with that, feel free. We can maybe do it, give you some notice on that. Cool.
Perfect.
Thank you.